What is up, y'all? It's your dude, and I'm back with another 5 reasons you are not meeting your fitness goals. Ain't that right? Number 1, you're going to extremes. This can take the form of both mental extremes and physical extremes. A lot of people, we have this old ideology from the physical side of bulking and cutting, and a lot of people see this as really just an excuse to get fat, and then they cut super hard. And what happens is we add a whole bunch of fat tissue during that time, during the bulking time, and then cutting we get so drastic that not only do we burn a lot of muscle tissue, but it's not sustainable because our hunger signals go up so much and our energy dips so low that it's just, again, it's not sustainable for the majority of individuals. The further that you push your body outside of homeostasis, and that homeostasis means where it likes to be balanced, the more it's going to fight back. There's times that we have to push hard, but 99% of the time we're gradual with things. Those times that we push hard are times we're really trying to eat the last 1% out of things. For example, during a contest diet phase. At the end, when your body's, again, fighting back because you're outside of homeostasis, that's when we push really hard. Now, this is going to be different for different individuals. For example, me, if I was very conservative with pushing food when I was trying to gain, I would still be 130 pounds. For other people that tend to hold on to fat easy, they have to be very conservative, and they can gain on less. The main thing from the physical standpoint is sometimes you just have to try and fail. You have to experiment and see what works for you. For example, if you push too hard, know that next time. If you come back down and you haven't made any improvements, you have an issue. You have to readdress that. You have to look at what you're doing and contextualize that a little bit better to you. But the main thing is 99% of the time, you don't want to go to super extremes. There are certain sectors of athletes that can a little bit more, and those are supplemented athletes. But still, you can't go crazy. It doesn't matter what you're using. From the mental standpoint, and I addressed this kind of last time, you're either on or off, and we can't do it like that. I had an issue like this when I was younger. I was actually a cyclist, believe it or not, before I got into bodybuilding, and growing up, I always thought more was better in all aspects. I would jump into things and I would be so immersed in them that I would just zone everything else out, and that always tended to lead to burnout. Cycling, I ended up jumping straight. I wanted to be Lance Armstrong, and I thought, jumping straight into being on the bike for 4 hours a day was a good thing. Well, it shut my thyroid down. So, from a mental aspect, it's the same thing. It's about balance. We want to we want to be able to push, but we want that not to be the sole thing that we do on a daily basis. We have to enjoy our time with others, right? With others, and just get out and do things and have other aspects of your life than just bodybuilding. 2, hiring a coach thinking that they have a magic key that you don't have currently. Okay, I'm going to keep it real. What I see with these individuals, I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10 because that's a little high, but a good majority of the time is that they just aren't working hard enough, and they're looking for someone to lean on. They think that, we have some secret, some shortcut. There we go. That's a good word. Shortcut to progress. The basis of progress is hard work, consistency, train your ass off, consistency with nutrition, and resting. I did my first prep. I wasn't very uneducated. I did a good amount of research, but I do not know near what I know now. I won my first 2 shows because I just busted my ass every single day. I'm not saying not to be educated, But I'm not saying that I have a shortcut. I know how human physiology works a little bit better than my clients, and I'm able to adjust things depending on how their body is responding, but the baseline always stays the same. The groundwork, the framework stays the same. And you have to have that down before you're going to get anywhere, with a coach or without. 3, and I'll be honest, I see this mainly with females. It's turning weightlifting into aerobics. And what I mean by this is just very low rest times, supersetting everything, etc. We're wanting, the main component that's been identified, I speak English, for hypertrophy, for muscular hypertrophy, is progressive overload. And that is increasing amounts of tension without a muscle that's getting stronger. Now, intrinsic in you being able to lift the most weight that you can, there are energy systems in your body that have to recuperate. The creatine phosphate system, your aerobic system, everything, you have to regenerate. And all these things have different general times of which they take to regenerate. You're not going to be ready to go again in 30 seconds. I don't care how your cardiovascular capacity is. These systems need more time to regenerate for you to be able to give 110% in these top sets. So what I see a lot of them as junk sets. And I see it's bad because usually what this equates to is a lot more volume too. And during times of a low caloric load, during times of a prep, this can actually cause catabolism and cause muscle wasting, rather than keeping tension on the muscle, telling it that it needs to stick around, and going that route. So please keep the aerobics separate from the weightlifting. There's times to use cardiovascular exercises, but it's not in the weight room. 4, I can be a hard ass sometimes, guys, but I'm a softie at times as well. Not having a support system. And I've learned this firsthand, and I've seen it time and time again with other clients. Your surroundings perpetuate your results. We talk about this being an individual endeavor, and that is very, very true. You're the one that gets up on a daily basis. You're the one that works. You're the one that puts the food in your mouth. You're the one that sleeps 8 hours a night. You're the one that does it. But there's a mental component to things as well, as far as being enthusiastic about doing it and wanting to do it, and also a mental stress aspect as well. Because when you don't have that support system, you're not going to have, take that back. Typically what I see is your family, people that surround you, go one of 2 ways. They support you or they don't understand what you do. And when they don't understand what you do, they're going to cause you stress because they're going to give you grief about it. So that's going to be a stress aspect. So not only are you dealing with the routine on a daily basis of what's a very involved lifestyle, but you're dealing with people that are giving you grief about what you're doing. I don't care who you are, after a while you're going to get downtrodden from that. Mentally, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to be optimistic. You're not going to look forward to doing it. It's going to be work, and it's going to be burnout, or you're just not going to get the results that you want. So what I tell people about family is that you can't. So friends, people that surround you that aren't family. It sounds harsh, but you can cut those people out. If they're negative people, if they're sapping your life, cut them out. Surround yourself with people that are optimistic, that are like-minded like you. Now, family, that's hard. You can't really cut family out unless something big happens. What I tell people is that the majority of the time, the people that are negative, especially family, people that have been around you your whole life, just don't understand what you're doing. I was lucky, my family, my dad was a bodybuilder, my uncle was a pro bodybuilder, so they kind of understood, but they had seen me go gung-ho in things before and burn out, so they didn't really accept when I first started. Now, when I showed them, firsthand, that I was very committed to what I'm doing, that it was generating positive qualities for my life and for my character outside of just physically changing me and they started to understand things. I started to explain things. If you can sit down calmly and talk to these people instead of getting defensive, it'll help. Then they began to support me, and now they wouldn't want anything than to see me do, as well as I can as what I've chosen to do. So surround yourself with a support system, as far as the friends, as far as people around you, and then your family. Work to help them understand what you're doing and how this can positively influence your life outside of just physically changing you. 5, not taking time to back off. We talk about adherence. I talked a little bit last time in the last video about people, when they decide to, they need balance, they just do a 180 and they do one step forward, one step back. There's times when we need to take that balance, when we need to kind of back off and kind of put bodybuilding away in the back of our mind for a little while, to be able to sustain what we're doing on a daily basis. Again, this is a very involved endeavor. It takes a lot out of you. It's a lifestyle. It's a big, big part of your life. And anything that you get hyper-focused on, it's very, from a human standpoint, it's very hard to focus on one dot for infinite amounts of time. So instead of just trying to focus on that one dot and losing focus and just going crazy, we take those acute periods, the holidays, etc., to back off and just forget about bodybuilding for a little while. Now, I made a video on holiday eating, etc., and what I will say, kind of an amendment to what I said the last time, if you're a person that has an issue with this during the holidays and stuff like that, just, tell yourself, I'm going to give myself 3 days. I'm not going to think about anything bodybuilding. I'm just going to enjoy myself, eat like a human being, enjoy all the things that the world have to offer me outside of bodybuilding, and then we'll get back on things. And I can guarantee you that you're going to come back both physically and mentally rejuvenated. So I'm not saying every month take a week off, but allow yourself acute periods of time to have that mental rejuvenation time. It's going to help you, from a physical standpoint. I can promise you that 9 times out of 10 people come back feeling better, and so much more from a mental standpoint. So anyways, guys, that's 5 more tips I wanted to give you on how you're not reaching your fitness goals. Hopefully this can help you. Refuse to see, homies.